All right, welcome. We would like to acknowledge this land that we meet on today is the traditional lands for the Gawler people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Gawler people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Gawler people today. All right, welcome. We would like to acknowledge this land that we meet on today is the traditional lands for the Gawler people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Gawler people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Gawler people today. Okay, roll call. You've got all that, haven't you? And apologies. Motions to grant leave of absence. No. Non-attendance. Got that one. Okay. Public forum, which is this one. Apologies. Motions to grant leave of absence. All right, tonight we have two people presenting in our public open forum. We have Mona from Slice of Life Films to talk to us about a local community filmmaking opportunity. And do I say Dondine straight away? Okay, so Mona, would you like to go first? Tonight we have two people presenting in our public open forum. We have Mona from Slice of Life Films to talk to us about a local community filmmaking opportunity. And
so good evening. Are we on? It's not on, is it? Lights on. Is it better now? Hello, hello. Testing, testing. That's better, isn't it? Thank you. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I wanted to work with this board and with the council because I think it's a really funky council. I think it's a really progressive council. And I've lived in lots of places and had a lot to do with a lot of councils. And this is a great council, I think. So my name's Mona Kaizam. This is part of my collective, or our collective, Jared Chamberlain. We have another person who couldn't be here tonight. She sends apologies, Belle. So basically what this is about, it's about storytelling, yeah? So if you give somebody a mic, instead of telling their story for them, they can tell their own story. And this I've done a long time with community filmmaking, and we set up a little camera over there. It's not on, but it's just to give you a flavour of some of the equipment. And as an extension to the filmmaking is community podcasting. So basically people have stories to tell, and the stories that we're interested in are authentic stories, grassroots stories, social justice stories, things that move people. And generally we go in with funding and people can come up with the thing that they want to talk about, as long as it's not, you know, homophobic or sexist or pornographic or something. Otherwise, it's generally pretty open. It's what people are moved enough to speak about. In this case, we're seeking some funding for a project on artists and mental health, how their art affects the mental health and how the mental health affects the art and community. And I wonder if in this group there are any artists. No? Good, one, okay. So 2, okay, maybe 3. Okay, so I'm not sure whether you're interested in this theme. You'll discuss it later and come back to us. But this is what we're seeking funding for now, and we think it's a really interesting theme. We've done a pilot project, and I showed you some images from that. But if it happens that there's something else that you really want to talk about, then we can try to find funding for that. So the structure at its most basic is learning podcasting skills, which are good skills, and filmmaking skills, which are also good skills. So they're digital skills that you can use in CVs or your work or whatever. But it's those two things are embedded in something much bigger. And the much bigger is an evening that is your film up on the big screen. And that's part of I run a women's film festival, so it's part of that in a way. And your podcast up on the screen and your family and friends there. So it's a real grassroots community evening. And we want to have, are there any artists in terms of illustrations? Does anybody draw in this room? Good, Abby, okay. So one of the things we'll have other than the podcast and the film is illustrations of the people, of the artists and the artist's artwork. And so what we want to do is then take it on the road so it becomes a roadshow and goes around to different councils. So it's not just that you do a podcast and a film and get a USB and that's it. It's about community and it's about letting it reach as many people as possible. Any questions so far? How am I going on time? 5 minutes down? Yep, all right. So we're talking then about digital media content and producing content. It's local, it's inclusive, it's multicultural, it's diverse, and it's grassroots. Our background is media training, cross-cultural training, public speaking, so you get a lot of that in this as well. Community radio, community film. We are independent arts practitioners, and essentially it's about storytelling and events. And our mission basically is to share the power and joy of community, because that's what our work is about. It's about creating community, and that's good for everybody, I think. So creating community and creativity through grassroots storytelling. Jared, do you want to say anything? Do you want to jump up and...
Okay. Hello. Hello. I've known Mona for probably about the last 3 to 4 months. I'm an artist myself. And I became interested in the idea when we first met, and in particular because Mona does filmmaking. And so what I really found about it is I picked out the idea of managing my mind because I have mental health issues, and also because I'm an artist. So I look to talk to other artists to see how they cope, how they manage with things. But what I really like about the podcasting is that it gives you a chance to explore something in your life that you probably want to do, but you don't make the time for it. Because that's how I found the experience. It was something I wanted to do, something I want to know more about. And this was the opportunity for me to start talking to other artists and other people. So from a personal point of view, you are really in control and it's really got something to offer. So thank you. Okay.
So just quickly to follow on from what Jared's saying, this project, Managing My Mind, is an exploration of the connection between art, mental health and community. And it's about why people are compelled to make art. And we think maybe that art is not important in our lives, but art and design is really important in the way we present ourselves, what we buy, what we listen to. So it's about why people feel they want to create or have to create art. And And the event that it leads up to is a really nice event because there's time for people to listen to the podcasts and watch the film and time to talk about the stuff. So nobody's compelled to talk, but it's a very nice grassroots community event. And the couple that we've done for Saga, Adelaide Women's International Film Festival, for the Gawler Fringe have been really successful. People like the format. So I'm going to stop here, but I'd be really happy if you had any questions at all. Yeah.
In terms of podcasting, if you have, say, a young person who comes and is interested in podcasting, are you able to supply them with the materials they need in order to start?
Yeah, it's a turnkey project, so to speak. So we come with the equipment and with the expertise in teaching this stuff. So all you need to come with is a desire to do it, really. And we'll take you through it. And democracy is really important in the way decisions are made. And it's also a really humanistic way to teach. So it's fairly gentle and it's very respectful with safe spaces. So yeah, it's all provided, and it's just to, see what you can create together. Yeah, good question. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No?
Yeah,
Jack.
so thank you, Mona. So how do people go about getting involved with you guys? And I think you said there's not really much required, but what do people need to come along with?
You don't need any basic skills, Jack. It's basically about storytelling. So it's facilitating your stories. So as an independent filmmaker, for example, I could come in and make a film about you, but I don't want to do that. It's much more fun for people if they make their own film and their own podcast. So beyond that, like, you will decide tonight if it's of interest, and then we'll continue with the funding, and then hopefully we can start in a couple of months. And it's as simple as that, really.
So it's really just a matter of people contacting you guys and say, hey, I want to do something, and then it just goes from there?
Yeah, I think it would probably go through Natasha because it's supported by council, and the mayor is in support of this project. So would that be right, Natasha, that people contact you, or do you want people to contact me? Or
So through the chair, the way that this is working is that we do have a motion that will be presented to you all later in the meeting, that you'll have an opportunity to vote on whether or not you'd like to take this any further and express interest in working with Mona on this project. So yeah, and then obviously that will then, obviously then from then on who is actually interested in taking part, and then we'll tee that up and I'll plan that once we do have the motion and the support letter. And then obviously Mona will apply for the funding, and then I guess once it's approved, if it's approved, then we'll work out a plan of action from there.
Okay, if no one else has any other questions for Mona, then we'll move on to Don Dean from Maxima to talk about the school holiday program.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, it's so good to see. So before I get started, I'd just like to address the elephant in the room. I was once a YAC member, and it is incredible to see such new, vibrant faces into it and see this program continuing. And from a personal level, you need to realize how important it is you have this voice and how important it is that this continues. So it's excellent to see. So in my past, I'd say about a month, I've been working with Debbie, the Youth Development Officer, to present basically a job skills workshop that we'd like to run in the July holidays. So we've now booked that in for the 9th of July. The program will run from 10 a.m. till 3, and we're trying to build it around not so much the admin aspect of, we don't want to heavily push job skills. What we're focusing more on is relevant information to people that are looking for jobs. So ideally, we've got a max capacity of 50 of obviously 14 to 24-year-olds. And we will be splitting them into groups. Our first exercise will be more around team building. So just light kind of programs, like fun more than anything. From there, we'll be going into job ready skills. So this is when we want to bring in some guest speakers just to walk around to the table, discuss a little bit about what they offer in the community, maybe answer any questions you might have to them. So for this, we're looking at NDIS, Maxima, as well as Headspace, Lifestyle Cocoon, and possibly some guest speakers of the local community volunteers, which could possibly include the Yak, throwing it out there. At 11 o'clock, we'll be going to first impressions. So this will be when we want to break down, basically, when you're considering an employer and when you're coming on, they're going to see your resume first up and your interview skills. So that's what we're going to work on. We're just going to have really a group exercise of, showing a poor resume, showing a good resume, breaking it down, also getting a lot of information on, you might have questions on things you think are relevant to your resume, etc. Break that down. From there, we will then be discussing at 11:30 some more skills and what skills you have and what you think might make you stand out from other applicants and how you can showcase that in your resume, as well as, just general building transferable skills. A lot that, you might have skills there that you don't really realize you have. And we just want to basically see that potential through and help out. From there, we'll be breaking for lunch, and then we'll be coming back for job interviews, as well as guest speakers from local employments and recruitment agencies. So that's also just, again, presenting, what an employer's perspective is, what they're expecting for youth and people that are unsure of what they want their next step to be, to sort of gauge with. From there, we'll be doing mock one-on-one interviews, but only for those who wish to stay. Other than that, they're allowed to go. And that's my draft. So I'll put it to you. Is there anything you think would be beneficial to add or remove? No? Questions? Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to working with you in the future. And again, thank you. This is excellent. So good to see. Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming tonight and explaining that to us. Next, we will move on to declarations of interest. All right, if there's no declarations of interest, we'll move to the confirmation of the last meeting's minutes. Mover and seconder. Mover, please. Yes, Amelia, seconder. Thank you, Jade. All right, and any business arising from the previous minutes? Sorry? Oh, sorry. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Business arising from the last minutes? None? Okay. So the bless you. The Youth Development Officer's report has now been put in writing, as noted in the update. Has everyone had a chance to read the update? Yeah. I do need a mover and a seconder for that. Thank you, Jack, and a seconder. Well, would Deb like to speak to anything in the update? Is there any questions? Cody?
Yeah, so the Bunyip Generation Now column, is that something that's coming up later in the agenda to fill empty spots on that, or where would we be deciding that?
Yeah, we still do need a couple more people for August and September. So we can ask people to come forward after the meeting. We do have a couple of people that have written pieces that we can use later as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay, I'll have a mover, please. Jack, and a seconder. Thank you, Isaac. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Sorry. So Chair's verbal update. So I have a few things to say tonight. So firstly, I'd like to acknowledge and say thank you to Angus, who is an apology tonight, but he represented YAC at the Corporate and Community Services Committee meeting by providing a brief verbal update of the programs and YAC projects in the community. I also had a meeting with the Commissioner for Children and Young People last week where I updated her on what the Gawler YAC was up to. Basically, it was a continuation of discussions regarding things that we were talking about at the Commissioner's workshop in the last school holidays. She was very impressed to hear what we were up to and knowing that we're trying our best to make positive change in the community for young people. I also have been to Tony Piccolo's Youth Advisory Panel. We haven't had another meeting since our last meeting, but I have received information about the topics we'll be covering, such as respectful relationships, mental health and sustainability, specifically in schools, because the YAP is made up of school representatives from all the different Gawler schools, which includes public and private. And that's pretty much all I've got for the Chair's update. Does anyone have any questions? Cody?
I heard you posed for a flyer as well. I've got a pamphlet here with your face on it.
Yeah, that was a decision made on the fly, wasn't it, Debbie? Yes, lucky me. So with that, we'll move on to the Climate Emergency Action Plan Working Group update. Jade, I might get you to speak to that if you can, please.
Not a lot to say this evening. I don't think we had a meeting since our last YAC meeting. There has been the decision to have a 4-day workshop with the SEEP, which I believe is on the 7th of July. It's just an opportunity for the SEEP members to spend a day together working through the plan and hopefully the pamphlet. Yeah, an opportunity for us to all be together and to basically do what we would do in meetings, but have the whole day to get as much done as possible. Yes, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jade. Yes, we've got another meeting on Wednesday, so hopefully we'll be able to come back to you with a little bit more next YAC meeting. I will skip item 8.3 as I've already discussed that in my chairperson's update. Item 8.4, who forgot to speak to that? Jack or Isaac, would you like to speak to that? Thanks, Isaac.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so our youth accessibility to transport survey has gone out in the last 2 weeks. We got some good media coverage on that from the Bunyip, who published a little article about that along with the QR code. As of yesterday, we had 100 and was it 100 and I want to say 170 responses to that survey. So that's going quite well. Of course, I'd be appreciative if everyone, I might put it in the group for people to share. We did have, I've emailed schools in regard to that as well, emailed a lot of the local schools with the survey. I received a response from Trinity College North. I didn't receive a response from the other 2 Trinity College campuses. I believe I may have received a response from Xavier, but I haven't received a response from Gawler Districts College yet either. And I'll be following that up this week. We have a few interesting little developments in that survey. I won't speak too much to them because we're still looking for people's honest feedback about that. But things like people being turned away from the substitute buses, the express service at the moment, due to capacity issues. A couple of people making complaints about fees. So some of you might be aware that some of the buses have Metro card readers on them, while some don't. So it can very much depend which bus is available at the time or on that day as to whether you pay fees or not, which some people are unhappy about. And we're still, of course, receiving some information on that. So I encourage you to go out and share that survey with people in schools and community groups as much as you can, so that we can get a big diverse range of people contributing to that. Apart from that, it's all going well. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Yes, Councillor Shanks.
When does the survey end? What's the period? How long have you got it going for?
The exact date, I can look that up, but it is in July, so I believe it was approximately 2 months from the start of the survey. The exact date, however, is apologies, 1 second. The 23rd of July is when we'll close that. And of course, we do also have a Gmail available as well for people who'd like to add extra comments, and I'll make that available in the group as well.
Thank you, Isaac. Any other questions? No? Okay. We'll move on to the Bike Month subgroup update. Jack, if you'd like to take over for this one.
Sure, thank you. I don't think I've actually made it to a YAC meeting since we finished up Bike Month. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Amelia, Grace and Angus for their hard work in sort of helping of running this event and the whole month campaign. I guess people have probably already known about sort of what the outcomes were of it, so I'll keep this short. But yeah, I think it went quite well, and there was a lot of engagement on Facebook and the actual event in the other room. And yeah, I think it's a good sort of first step, and yeah, I look forward to expanding on it in the next year's edition of it all.
Thank you, Jack. We'll move on to item 8.6, the Youth Space-Based Traineeship Program Budget Bid Update. Councillor Davies, would you like to talk to this?
Yep, so we had our budget meeting for the budget to go out to public consultation. So basically finalising it before it goes out to the public for feedback. And at that meeting, I raised the traineeship to move it above the line, meaning to fund it this year. And that successfully made it through. So currently the $50,000 is in the budget for a youth-based traineeship. It's not finalised yet. Is the consultation still going, or is it finished Friday? Yeah, so we are due to, I think this month, get back the public consultation and discuss that and discuss. So I'm getting charades here.
Yeah, so public consultation feedback will be presented to council on the 15th of June. So any feedback that's come from the community in regard to the traineeship or anything else will be presented to council on that date.
Yeah, so it will come back to council. We'll decide whether we want to change anything about the budget based on the feedback, and we'll go through to the process of finalising it. But as it is now, it has gone through. So we will know by about July 6th whether it's officially in or not. But it is in at the moment.
All right. Yes, Councillor Shanks.
And just to add to that, you know, there's been a bit of a good, strong voice from the YAC on this item, which has been very positive, and it's allowed us councillors to, you know, push with it. And as Cody said, he was able to get it above the line, which was very positive. The community consultation, it sort of sounds very important to a ratepayer, because obviously it's their rates that go to these sorts of things. However, don't underestimate the power of being able to come in and addressing council at these special council meetings where we are going to unpack the feedback. If you haven't contributed already to the community consultation, that doesn't mean the door is shut. You know, it's always good to come in to the chamber and also just speak again and put it in everyone's face that you know, this is something that is important and it should stay where it is. So just, yeah, making that clear as well.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay. I'd like to move that the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee include all verbal updates to be included in the minutes. And that includes thanking Amelia, Grace and Angus for their support with the Bike Month subgroup. May I please have a mover? Cody? And a seconder? Thank you, Jack. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Okay. Next, we've got items listed for discussion at future meetings. Yes, Isaac?
Just quickly, in the minutes from the last meeting, there was an item listed for discussion at future meetings for Kirsty Dudley to provide further information about digital storytelling in relation to tourism. Can I please move that be carried over so that we can keep that in the minutes for whenever she needs to do that?
Through the chair. Kirsty was very busy with grant applications this month, but she will be attending next month's YAC meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any other items listed for discussion at future meetings? Abby?
So when receiving opinions from local community members, a common topic is the heritage of Gawler being sacrificed for commercialisation? So a few people brought up that some commercial chains and buildings in Gawler have been in place of heritage buildings in Gawler. So we're going to ask some questions about whether we had much information on what heritage buildings in Gawler are listed and how many are being knocked down for commercialised buildings.
Through the chair, we can note that for items to be listed for future discussion and I guess speak about the relevant person from council coming along to present.
Thank you. Anything else? No? All right. Questions without notice? Councillor Davies?
So this is just around the agenda. I know we've got some, I guess, suggested motions coming up and that sort of thing. In our other committees, generally, if the staff would have a motion prepared, that would go in officers' reports so that we'd have the chance to look at it before the meeting. And then if it's, I'm not sure, and I guess that's part one to my question. So is that something that we'd be able to do in the future?
Through the chair, in regards to motions that are available to be put forward in a timely manner, they would be included as a report. This one here wasn't finalised until Friday. And so that was the only reason it's not been included within the agenda and when it'll be considered in this manner tonight. So.
And just in terms of, this might be a question for governance, but in terms of, we've got questions without notice and motions without notice. Do we have the capacity for motions on notice? Is that something that, for it to go in the agenda, if it gets brought out before the deadline?
Through the chair, there is definitely that ability. If any member of the committee wants to submit a question prior to or a motion for inclusion within the agenda, that can be submitted through Natasha, predominantly 10 days prior to the meeting.
Thank you. Any other questions without notice?
Question. 2 pages from the end when it's the youth leadership programs, where it mentions the Rotary Youth Awards, the ages for the camp that I went on are incorrect. So if changes could be made to that, that would be. So it says 19 to 29, but I believe it is 18 to, I don't know if it's 18 to 29. I think it's 18 to 26 or something.
I think you're right, Jade. All right. Any other questions without notice? No? Okay. We'll move on to motions without notice. So that is the public open forum. And where was that? Sorry, I have too many bits of paper. So the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee recommends to Council to pass a motion, that the, what was the words? Sorry. Recommends to Council that a letter from the Mayor be provided to support the 2021 Talking South Australia Managing My Mind project grant application for Foundation for Rural and Regional Renewal Funding. Do I read this out as well? That they note the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee members' interest in participating in project 2021 Talking South Australia Managing My Mind. So, yes, Isaac?
So through the chair, so is that a grant which council will be applying for from state government, or is this a grant which is council is giving to the presenters that were here tonight?
Through the chair, that is an application for the grant being done by Mona, and we are providing a letter of support
and that grant's from the state government. It's not part of the current budget that has just gone out to consultation.
There isn't any, through the chair, sorry, there isn't any funds that would be payable by council, so it hasn't been included in the budget.
Okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Jade. And a seconder, Isaac. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Okay. In that case, we can close the meeting. No, we can't close the meeting. Okay, I'm required to ask who's interested in participating in the project. Jade, Darcy, anyone else?
Do we know when this project's sort of going to be running, just for like calendar's sake? Oops, sorry.
Through the chair, no. Mona did mention in her presentation that it'd be in the coming months.
Through the chair, if you haven't put your name down, there will still be an opportunity to put your name forward later.
All right, so at the present time, we have Jade and Darcy interested. Would anyone else like to put their name forward now? No? Okay. Isaac?
So this will be open to the public generally and the people, especially keeping in mind those people who are involved in arts programs in the youth space. It will go out to them as well. Is that the way it will work?
Through the chair, we don't have the exact details. I guess the point of Mona coming along to present to the YAC committee tonight was to gain their interest and how many people might be interested, and then I guess we could look at some alternatives and offering it to the wider youth space membership.
All right, in that case, we can close the meeting at 7:22 p.m. The next ordinary meeting is on the 5th of July at 6:30 p.m.